Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining. This class is really geared towards total beginners. So it's going to be a very gentle, kind of a slower moving vinyasa style class that really teaches you how to move in your body in a way that is guided by the breath. So the breath is really the main component to this class. Keep that in mind, and we're going to get started on our mats. So all you need today at home is just to have a yoga mat, ideally something that supports your knees. So when you're in a kneeling position or in a tabletop position, your knees have some cushioning. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start out in this kneeling position and just really simply starting out with a focus on some deep and slower breathing. As I said before, the breath is really, really important, so let's pay attention to it. Let's focus on it together. So I'll get you to sit kneeling, making sure that you're comfortable. You could elevate your hips by sitting on a cushion if it's difficult for your knees to be on the ground this way, or you could sit cross-legged also. So whatever works for your body today is going to be just fine. And then just find a nice tall spine, hands resting on your lap. And we'll go ahead and just close down the eyes. And the first thing I want you to bring awareness to is just any tension that you might notice around your jaw. So going deep into the jaw and really softening there. And then even finding a little hint of an inner smile. So almost like a Mona Lisa smile, just gently lifting up the corners of the lips, ever so subtly. And this just helps to create, again, a little more relaxation around the jaw and a little more lightness in your body. And now bring awareness towards your breath. So we'll take a nice deep inhale together through the nose, breathing in. And then see if you can hold for a second at the top. And exhale. And then again, inhale nice and slow and deep. Breathing in all the way to the top of the lungs. And exhale. Now gently open up your eyes. We're going to continue with that process. So inhale again nice and slow. Hold for a second at the top. And exhale. Very nice. And one more. Inhale slowly. Feel the lungs expand. Try to feel for your ribs to expand. Hold the breath and exhale. Now from here, we're going to come right into our first forward bend, which will be child's pose today, Balasana position. So just take your knees slightly apart, about hip width distance. Try and keep the big toes together, and then go ahead and stretch your arms out in front of you and bring your forehead down towards the ground. I'm just taking 3 deep breaths there. I'm just going to spin around on my mat so you can see me from the side. Let your neck be long. Allow your head to be nice and heavy, just relaxing it down. And as you breathe, just continue that process. Breathe nice and slow. And in this position, see if you can breathe right into your lower back, filling up the back rib area. And as you breathe out, just gently contracting your core. So drawing the lower belly in very subtly. And we'll do one more. Nice big inhale. Holding the top of the breath. And exhale. Now next inhale, just nice and easy. Bring your body upright. We're going to come and shift forward onto our hands and knees for a tabletop position. So from tabletop, have a look at your hands about shoulder width apart, and just see if you can work it out to get your index fingers nice and parallel. So that's going to create a little external spiral through your hands, and it will start to create this more external rotation through your shoulders. So you'll feel the triceps kind of wrapping back, and that's what you want to try and create here. Take a nice big inhale, and then what we're going to do is round the spine. So as you exhale, just slowly start to tuck your tail between your legs. Try to round your spine to the ceiling above you, and then bring your chin to your chest, and really rounding between the shoulder blades. Push the floor away. Inhale, slowly glide your hips back. So think about pubic bone gliding back between your legs, lifting sitting bones up to the ceiling, and then slowly start to elevate the crown of your head to the ceiling. Bring your face forward, but just eye gaze to the tip of the nose, so your forehead is relaxed. And we're going to do that a few times. So as you exhale again, curl in, tucking tail between the legs, rounding the spine, bring your chin towards your chest, squeeze front ribs in. Inhale, glide your pubic bone back. Start to tilt the hips up and back, arching the lower, middle, and the upper back. And 3 more, exhale. And try to really just move with the breath now a little bit more. And inhale. Again, exhale. And inhale. Beautiful, guys. Exhale, 1 more. And inhale. Exhale. And this time, inhale your way back to child's pose. So bring your feet together, inhale all the way back. And just stay for an exhale. And then slowly come back into tabletop position, keeping that hand position. Now we're going to activate the hands a little bit more. So just grip the mat slightly with your fingertips. Try to kind of claw the mat. So feel your pinky finger pressing down that fingertip, and then also the ring and the middle and the index finger, and kind of hug the hands nice and strong towards each other at the same time. From here, we'll tuck the toes under, lift the knees off the ground, and slowly reach your hips back behind you so that your hips are as high as you can get them. So this position we call downward facing dog. We're going to keep it kind of light today. So bend your knees just a little if they're not already bent. Heels slightly off the mat, just for this first one at least. And then really get a sense of trying to straighten your arms, press the floor away, and bringing that length that's in your arms into your spine. So it's as if someone had your hips and they were actually pulling you back to elongate your spine. Let your head drop down. Maybe give it a shake no a couple times. And just find 3 more breaths here. It's really important when you're a beginner to yoga to actually spend a little time in the poses so that you really get a chance to kind of soak them up. You get a chance to really feel where your body is at and what sensations that you're experiencing. So just to really take your time. Now from here, we're going to come to standing. So go ahead and look forward to your hands. Come high on your tippy toes, as high as you can, and just take a little tiptoe forward. You'll find that it gets tricky to come forward beyond that halfway point sometimes. So if you need to come onto the fingertips, go ahead and do that. And then bend your knees a little bit and fold all the way down. So we're just gonna come up straight away. So bend your knees, draw the lower belly in, and inhale, roll up nice and slow, keeping your arms heavy so they just kind of droop down. And then once you're nice and straight and your head comes above the spine, let's do a big shoulder roll. So nice big inhale, elevate the shoulders right up around the ears, and then exhale, melt the shoulders just down your back and relax the shoulders. We're gonna start to work on a few standing postures. So we'll start out with this one pretty much in the position we're in, grabbing the big toe pose or Padangusthasana. So feet about hip width apart. Bend your knees a little bit and then come down to grab the big toes. If you're a little bit tighter, just bend the knees as much as you need to be here. Inhale to lengthen up, straighten the arms, and exhale, keep the knees slightly bent, draw the lower belly in, gently bend the elbows out to the sides a little bit and start to fold. 5 deep breaths. So really try to find that nice audible breath that you can listen to, you can tune into. 2 breaths. We'll continue 3 more. 3, 4, 1 more, 5, and inhale to lengthen, nice straight back, holding here. Exhale, release your big toes, and then keeping your back straight, bend the knees a little bit. We'll inhale to come up, and then just simply bring your feet all the way together. Now, stepping out to the right, take a nice big wide stance to the right, arms nice and parallel. And we're gonna turn our right toes out to the right, reach the arms nice and wide, take a breath, and coming into Trikonasana or triangle pose. Reach nice and long towards the right toes, and then slowly release your right hand right in front of your shin, palm nice and open, and reaching that left arm up. And try to really open up the chest. Keep the lower belly drawn in. 5 breaths. 1, As you turn your gaze up to the top hand, make sure you don't just crank your neck back. Actually bring your chin a little bit towards the collar and then rotating on that axis. 4, we'll stay one more big breath. 5, and we're just simply gonna come up to standing. So from here, inhale, coming all the way up, bringing arms parallel to the ground, and we'll just change our sides. So turning the left toes in, the right toes out, reach nice and long apart, engage that left thigh muscle so it's a nice strong leg. Reach towards that leg, and then go ahead and release your palm on the inside of the shin and reach your top arm up. Even if you have the flexibility to go a little deeper, sometimes it's nice to come not into your full flexibility, but just sort of back it off a little bit and then see if you can find your strength. That's one of the reasons we're placing the hand on the inside of the shin, just so that we can't bear any weight, just sort of pressing down into that shin. We really have to be strong here. Take one more big breath. Nice big out breath. And then from here, we'll inhale to center. Now, we're gonna go back to that first side. So turning the left toes in, the right foot out. Just make sure your heels are in one straight line. And we'll widen the stance. So just heel toe walk your back foot back a little bit. So you've got about 4 feet. Let's come into Parshvakonasana, side angle. So bending that right knee, just get your thigh as parallel to the floor as you can. And we'll take a simple variation. So just bringing your elbow to your right knee and stretch your left arm up and over. Just gazing towards that left hand. 5 breaths. 1. Try to keep the lower belly in so it's not moving too much as you breathe. 2. 3. Making sure there's not a ton of weight in that bottom arm on your knee. 4. 5. Inhale, coming back to center, arms parallel, and then just straighten up the right leg. We'll turn and come right into the other side. So bending that left knee, left elbow lightly rests on the thigh, and then extend your right arm up and over. 5 breaths. 1. 2. 3. Keeping the lower belly in, tailbone tucked just ever so slightly. 4. 5. Inhale, coming all the way up. And then we're simply turning the left toes forward so our feet are nice and parallel. And just bring the heels slightly out so you're about slightly pigeon-toed with those feet. Hands to the hips, nice big inhale, just thinking about pressing into the feet and reaching up through the crown of the head. And then we'll exhale, come into this simple forward fold. So just bringing fingertips to the floor. Now try to keep your head lifted so your back is straight for a moment. Take another breath. And exhale, forward fold. So bring your hands, if you can, between your feet. Breathe deeply 5 times. 1. Elbows in a little bit. The roots of your thumbs press down. 2. 3. Wherever you are in this pose, so if you're really tight through the legs, you might be a little higher. That's fine. Try to straighten and engage the legs. 4. Just working with where you're at. Last one. 5. Now inhale, halfway lift, lift your head, straightening your spine. Exhale, micro bend the knees, root down into the heels, hands to your hips, lift the elbows to the ceiling above you, and inhale to come up. And then from here, we'll step forward all the way to the top of the mat, just bringing the feet together. Let's come into a vinyasa to come to the floor now. So on your nice big inhale, reach your arms straight forward, hands together, gazing to thumbs. Exhale, all the way forward and down. Inhale, halfway lift, opening your chest. Exhale, plant the hands in front of you and step back, 1 foot at a time. High plank position. Shift forward a little bit, lower your knees to the mat, and then lift your gaze, slowly coming down. And we'll lower down all the way to the belly. I'm gonna set up for a locust pose. So from here, untuck your toes, feet about hip width apart, spiraling the pinky toes down towards the mat, and reach back through the toes. We'll take the hands back actually, so palms facing up and the back of your hands on the floor. And even though your hands are on the floor, keep your shoulders lifted. So rotate your shoulders back and down like you're wearing a big cape. Now get a sense of your hips pressing down, and then see if you can press the hips down and slowly start to engage the legs by lifting them up off the ground. 5 breaths. 1. So chest is up already. 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to move from here to child's pose. So hands right under the shoulders. Bring yourself all the way back to the heels. Feet together as you slide back. And take a couple breaths there. Really releasing through your back muscles. And we'll do one more spine strengthening exercise. So coming all the way forward again. See if you can step it back into high plank position from here. So tucking the toes and then shifting forward. And then maybe lower the knees, or if you don't need to lower the knees, just lowering straight away down. And this time we'll come into a little Superman prep. So we'll take the hands just by the ears, a little bit like we have little elephant ears, and this is going on. Press down to the hips, similar exercise, point your toes, and then inhale, arching your back off the floor. See if you can arch the legs. Now on the exhale, we're gonna make it a little deeper. We'll start to drop the chin to the chest and stretch the arms overhead. And it's like you're Superman here flying. And then inhale, lifting the chest, arms back, exhale. Let's do 5. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good, we're gonna do one more. So inhale, exhale, nice and strong. And then slowly, hands under the shoulders, press all the way back. Child's pose. Awesome work. Take a nice big breath there. Big breath out. And then slowly shift forward. Come all the way down to have a seat. So sitting, kneeling. And then we'll swap our hands around one direction. Just swivel the legs around in front. Bend your knees. Place your feet about hip width apart. So you can kind of feel your feet plug into the ground and sort of hug your heels towards you so the hamstrings start to activate a little bit. We'll release the arms parallel to the floor. And we're just gonna do a really slow curl down. So as you curl down, I want you to think about your pelvis a little bit to start. So tucking the tailbone under, you come into what we call a posterior pelvic tilt. So this is gonna start to round your lower back, and that makes it kind of nice and easy to start to lower down. Just one vertebra at a time. Really taking your time. You're gonna feel your belly burn a little bit. This is a intentional burn. Come all the way down. Now, once your back is on the ground, relax your head. Just right away, squeeze your knees into your chest. Give it a little squeeze in. And we'll move into a bridge pose today. So let's place the feet on the ground about hip width apart. Reach down and feel where your heels are at, and then I want you to actually give yourself some space. So maybe move your feet just ever so slightly away from where your fingers are, but just getting a sense that your feet are nice and even. And we're going to pigeon toe the toes a little. So you might want to lift your heels right up just to set that up, and then move your heels slightly out so that you are aware of having those pigeon-toed feet. It feels a little strange for beginners sometimes because we kind of want to do the opposite. So just turn the toes in a little. And from here, press into the hips and inhale, or press into the feet. Inhale, start to lift the hips up. Now you can either leave it here really simple, or if you feel to, scoop the shoulders together underneath you just by rocking weight from one shoulder to the other, and then interlace the hands underneath. Try to straighten the arms and lift the hips nice and high. Just stay here for 3 or 4 breaths. Slow, deep breathing. And one more. And exhale, release your arms if they're interlocked underneath, and slowly bringing your body down. Now we're gonna do one more variation. This one will work a little different entry into it. So feet a little bit closer together. And then we'll extend right leg straight up above, flexing the toes back. Don't worry too much if you are not able to get the leg exactly vertical. It's okay if it's a little further away. We're gonna work one leg at a time. So it's actually gonna feel a little more difficult, but again, that's intentional to build our strength up. So press down into your left foot and inhale. Both halves of the pelvis come up at the same time. So be aware when you lift your hips that your right hip isn't sagging down. That's what we wanna work on. So really lifting both hips, they're nice and even for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, now stay here, 5, then we'll lower the hips down first and then release the right leg down. So we'll try and come up out the same way we went in. Let's try other side. So left leg out, flexing the foot, press into the right foot and inhale, scoop both hips really evenly off the ground. 5 deep breaths. 1, 2, this is sort of deceptively difficult. 3, it's very challenging to use one leg at a time. 4, mainly because it shows you kind of where your weaknesses are. 5, slowly lower the hips and then releasing the foot to the ground. And then we'll separate the feet a little wider, stretch the arms out nice and wide to the sides, and very slowly start to rock both of your knees over to the right. Have a little pause there, and then we'll swap it and go to the other side. And go back and forth 2 more cycles. Now as you do this, energize the feet a little bit so your toes are sort of flexing towards you, towards your shins, as you move the knees back and forth. 1 more round. Nice, and then slowly coming back into center. From here, tuck your knees into your chest, hands right behind the knees or the thighs. Curl your head in towards your chest. We're gonna rock up to sit. So just go ahead and find a comfortable seated position. We're gonna close with a brief pranayama exercise, a breathing exercise, and then we'll take a final rest together. So ideally cross-legged, if you're able to do that, just sitting with a nice tall spine. Welcome to sit on a cushion or be in a kneeling position, so whatever works. Let your hands rest on your knees or your lap. And bring your awareness into your back body, so the space of your upper and your middle back, your shoulder blades, and just lean back a little into that space. And then lift up through the heart, so there's this nice tall spine. We'll keep our eyes open for this, but just go ahead and drop your chin slightly towards your chest, so your eyes are a little bit downcast. And then just taking a nice big inhale through your nose. Hold the breath for a pause. And exhale. Holding the breath out. And inhale. Hold the breath in. And exhale. Clearing the breath out and hold. And again, inhale. Hold the breath in. Exhale. Emptying it out. 1 more. This time I'll give you an option to hold a little longer. So inhale. And then holding here. Chin towards your chest, engaging the lower belly. Try and engage a little bit the pelvic floor. So it's like as if you could imagine a parachute at the bottom of the pelvic floor and you're drawing it up. And just hold here until you feel that first desire to breathe, that first urge to breathe out. So when you're ready, go ahead and release the engagement through your core and exhale it out. Little pause at the end. And then 1 more nice big breath. Exhale. And just bringing your chin forward, we're going to prepare for a final Savasana. Very important to rest, even if it's just for a couple minutes after practice. So just like we did before, place your feet on the ground, stretch your arms out, and then slowly, slowly, slowly tuck your tailbone under, lift your pubic bone towards your navel, zipping up the core. Come all the way down. Now when you get down, right away, knees into chest, and try and lift your head towards your knees. Curl up into a little ball. Imagine yourself, you're like a sponge, and you're really trying to flush everything out of the sponge. For 3, really lifting up. 2, and 1. Final Savasana. Bring yourself all the way down. Let your legs stretch out. As toes kind of flop to the sides of the mat, arms release. Close your eyes down. Feel into your shoulders. Do a little shrug with the shoulders if you need to. And just allowing yourself to kind of marinate in the afterglow or the after effect of your work. Connecting to our bodies, especially for beginners, can be sort of a scary and daunting endeavor just because it might be this thing that you've been disconnected with for a little while. So honor yourself for taking time out to step into that work. And instead of even thinking of it as work, think of it as a journey, as this aspect of your life that no matter how disconnected from it you get, or how much you sort of put this part of your life on the shelf to save for later, you can always get back to it again. The more you think of your practice as a journey, and the more that it's not an effort at all, it's actually like a pleasure to come to your mat and just connect with yourself every day, the more you'll want to do it. And then that's when yoga practice really becomes a practice for you. So it's not something that we force ourselves to do. It's something that we feel called to do. Now, if you'd like a little more time in your Savasana, just stay relaxing. But if you're ready to start to release from it, we'll stretch the arms overhead so you can just bring your hands all the way together, interlock the fingers right up to the webbing, and then inhale, stretch the arms straight up and then over your head. So you get this nice big length from the top of your body to the bottom. And then bend up your knees. Release the clasping of the hands. Keep your right arm elevated, left hand to your belly, and we'll just roll on to the right side. And try and just let yourself lay on top of your right arm. And just take a moment there. Not in any rush to release. And then slowly press your way up to a seated position. And just closing with the hands in front of the heart. This time closing your eyes, chin to chest. And just honoring your time on your mat, taking with you perhaps a little more wisdom, a little more connection to yourself, and bringing that into your day today. Thanks for sharing your time with me on your mat, everybody. Namaste.